What are some of the, like, biggest things, like, a guy can do? I mean, let's say they're in their 30s already, or late 30s or early 40s. That's kinda where I'm at.
Yeah.
Like, what are the biggest things they can do to change what they have maybe they've just done the normal, I would say, like, US culture, what it's created.
So there's sort of like various areas where you could focus on, like the relationship with your children. What kind of relationship do you want to have with your kids? And so a lot of us who've been kind of raised in this culture, we think about like almost 18 as being some magic number where you launch your kids out and good luck. And so as opposed to cultivating a heart connection with your kids that's designed to last a lifetime. Like we have to be very careful how we treat our kids, how we love our kids, how we invest in our kids. And so I think there's a subtle desire that a lot of men have to escape their children, especially in the teenage years. And if you lose your kids' hearts in the teenage years, which is very common when you send them to a school system in which, in order for them to survive, they have to adopt another set of values that are the antipathy or the opposite of maybe what they were raised with, then that creates enormous tension in the home, especially between the father and the children. So making decisions like that is very devastating to the creation of a multi-generational family. And of course, we lift that up as the height of independence, and it's the absolute opposite. It's just another father with a worse vision that is
Mm,
capturing children. And so we can't just say, okay, we're going to be raising these kids and then we're going to send them to places where they're indoctrinated against our values. So those are basic decisions that are so predictable that we can make. I mean, things like social media and how our kids are using that. Are they forming, very strong bonds with peers? Are they obsessed with their image as an individual? I mean, everything that our culture is doing is designed for hyper individualism, and that is that value clashes greatly with the value for creating a family that sacrifices for each other. That's a team, that really loves one another, that knows how who sees themselves as a son or a daughter or a mother or a father. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a culture in the history of the world that has had less value for those roles. In fact, we're even trying to rewrite laws so that the words mother and father is just parent one and parent two, because that creates more inclusion. Well, that also destroys the family. It destroys the potential for multi-generational family. Sons and daughters, mothers and fathers, these are beautiful identities that we've robbed our children from. And then we get shocked that they're looking for alternative identities. So I think
mm,
there's a sort of like that very like personal level with you, your spouse, your children. Then you can kind of get to another level, which is sort of your rhythm. There are rhythms. You want to create a lot of fun as a family.
mhm.
You want to lead your family. What are the spiritual rhythms you're doing in the home? I think a great place to start with that is a Sabbath dinner. Which we were in Israel, we were so impressed with the kind of multi-generational families that were created by the Sabbath rhythm, and especially that dinner where like a father would bless his sons and a mother would bless her daughters. And I mean, it was such a rich experience of familyness. Even when we promote meals as a family, we primarily are talking about these weekday meals where we quickly try to catch up before everyone goes off and does their own thing. Where's the place where we just sit and be a family? That's
Mm.
very difficult. Like, and you have to design that properly. And when you do, and your kids love it, like when our kids were growing up, and we would send our kids to school for like a year during high school, and so it was part of their training. And so we would say, okay, well, we want you to go to high school for a year, and they were very well prepared for it, and then it would be over. But even then, it was like while they were making friends, and there was a big football game, that they wanted to be at our Sabbath dinner table. You want to create the kind of meal that your kids, as they're having children, couldn't imagine not wanting to bring your grandchildren over, because there's so much health and life and identity and family
Yeah.
stories and things just flowing from that family table. And so learning the skill of being able to craft a family table experience on a weekly basis, that's a basic skill of the multi-generational father and mother. So these are just examples of like how you, and then we were just talking about
Mm.
assets and trying to figure that out, and that's certainly a big one, a huge one to figure out. But yeah, all the way from the heart level all the way out to like the economic level, a multi-generational family thinks totally differently than a family that's designed just to be a grouping of individuals.
Man, that is so good. I think a lot of people, like, Yeah, I can't wait till we're empty nesters, right? And you just have this so everything you said, like our culture is like not
Right.
for that. No, so I'm excited about what you're doing. I'm excited to look more into your podcast, and what you guys got going on. I'm 100% behind that vision too, which and we're with maybe different words and different, understanding, kind of heading the same path.
Mm.
And I really get that we want assets, but we also want good families, and I say that too. Like you don't want to get to where even if you got all the assets and all this stuff, and then your family's not there with you, like your wife's not there because you couldn't nurture the relationship. Your kids aren't there; they're
Right.
estranged because you just didn't bring them along. You didn't show interest. Like the assets aren't worth sacrificing all that. But
That's right.
I like what you're saying, where you're almost like it's a team that's going to get those things. It's not
That's right.
just you. And
When your
so,
children identify as a part of that team, when your
yeah,
children feel like that is their primary team, and that by the way, that starts with a father demonstrating to his children that he believes that that is his primary team. That's where this all falls apart. When a father demonstrates to his family that you guys are my second, third, fourth tier team, I'm really on these other
mm,
teams and they're way more important to me. The sports team I cheer for and the work team I'm a part of. I mean, why would a mother ever sacrifice for that team when the father refuses to say, this is my primary team? So that paradigm shift is the first one that has to be made. The father has to say, I'm primarily a father, like Avram,
wow,
exalted. That's why I'm saying, like when you read the story of Abraham, to bring this full circle, that's what was unique about Abraham. He saw everything through the lens of being a father, and he demonstrated for us what that looked like so that we could understand the value of this identity and take it on ourselves. And in the new covenant, Paul says, we are also adopted children of Abraham. And so be like your father, live like him and understand that when you have children, you are a father now. You're not primarily these other identities. Don't atomize your identities into different things and then rank other identities as higher. Everything gets nested underneath this identity of you are now a father. And God he has decided to really express his nature through these family identities of father, of son, right? So of bride and bridegroom. And so there's a lot at stake here if we don't properly express these identities as well.
that's deep. I think a lot of people going to be going to whoever listens to this going to go read about Abraham and dig in a little bit more. So, um, no, I think you're right. Like there's a lot. It's on our shoulders. I always think of that as men. Like we're supposed to lead this, so we should know this, right?
Yes.
We're supposed to know the truth and then live it out. And I think you really opened up, kind of shined a light on like one of your main goals as a as a man was to be a father, right? And then
Yes.
demonstrate and maintain that home. And I like that you brought in this multi generational piece. Don't just think it's about you and retiring. It's about, you know, it could be 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now, what you left. So, well, Jeremy, I really appreciate your time and coming on today. And I'd love to hear more about what you're doing. I want to encourage other people, everyone, to just check out familyteams.com. What's the best place for people to kind of reach out to you?
Yeah, you can jump on there. I'm personally on Instagram and Twitter is Jeremy M.
Okay.
Pryor's my handle on those places. So feel free to, say hi on those platforms. I'm also on LinkedIn a lot. So yeah, I'd love to interact and hear any feedback and yeah, get to know you guys.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming on. So, with that, you fathers, I know there's some ladies that listen to this too, but be putting that work in that faith, family, finances, and fitness. Put a little bit of work in today that's going to make an impact a year from now, 10 years from now. Check out what Jeremy's doing with family teams. Get that legacy mindset and do some changes. Maybe it's that meal, that family meal, figuring out a Sabbath meal, like this consistent weekly exciting thing to look forward to, like that brings every piece of the family together and friends can be invited to. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that stood out to me today. So make some changes, go get the education and the skills that you're going to be a different man a year from now. So if you like that clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. If you want to watch the entire interview, click right here.